Your Excellency, thank you once again for receiving the representatives of the Greek NGO program We Are All Citizens in your residence here today.
My pleasure.
And Dr. Fedon Lindberg, thank you for joining us from Norway in what we are hoping is going to be a trip in getting to know the two countries and the different mentalities and hopefully what brings us closer together and not what brings us apart.
Thank you.
I would like to start by you giving us a brief overview of your role here, the role of the Greek of the EEA grants program, and how you find life in Athens so far.
Working with the EEA grants program is one of the most important parts of my work as an ambassador to Greece. With the EEA grants, we have a total of 63.7 million euros that we, together with good partners on the Greek side, tried to put to the best possible use for Greece. A very important part of this is our NGO fund. We work together with the Bodossaki Foundation, trying to help and to stimulate the work of NGOs in Greece.
Dr. Lindberg, your name sounds really Scandinavian, but we all understand you are of Greek origin. Can you tell us your life story, how you found yourself in Norway and what you've been doing there?
Well, it was almost by coincidence. I moved to Norway in 1986. I was 23 years old at the time. I had finished medical school here. And I was actually on my way to Germany, or at least that's what I was thinking, because I have graduated at German high school here in Athens, for my specialization. And then I am very fond of foreign languages, and I wanted to learn also a Scandinavian language. I knew already, I spoke already several others. And I was going to actually learn Swedish. And then I thought, well, I was going to start with Swedish courses, and it was September, and this was start in October, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll start with the teach yourself method, and so that I'm not completely blank. And I went to a bookstore and asked for the Swedish teach yourself method, and it was sold out. But they came back and said, well, we have no Norwegian and Danish. And you know, at that point I could have said, no, I'll come back or whatever, or I won't buy it. But I just said, okay, well, give me the Norwegian. And that was the start of everything, funnily. And then I moved to Norway in '86, and I've lived there since.
And you've been doing important work in Norway, introducing the Norwegians and the Scandinavians to the Mediterranean diet and cuisine. How hard was it to do that?
Well, when that happened, it was in the beginning it was around 1999-2000, and of course there are some major differences between the traditional, at least, Greek Mediterranean diet and the Norwegian one, also because of the availability of different foods, traditionally. So there were some things that were not as common, and also I didn't just only introduce the Mediterranean diet, but also some, at the time, ideas that were considered as controversial. So we got a lot of attention and that led also to the whole concept, and also the Mediterranean diet, of getting much more known. Of course, another aspect of it is that so many Norwegians actually travel to the Mediterranean. It's a very dear destination, Greece among others. So now today, I would say that the Mediterranean diet is accepted as a very healthy way of living, of eating, and gained much more acceptance than before. So,
it is true that many Norwegians visit the Mediterranean countries, and many more visit Greece. What is the number approximately? Do you know?
It's hard to give an exact number, but we say that somewhere between 300 and 350,000 Norwegians visit Greece every year. I think that's an astonishing number, taking into account that the whole population is only 5 million. I sometimes say that Greece is in a particular situation because now you have second-generation tourists. People of my generation, many came to Greece and had a wonderful time. Now their kids are growing up and they say, go to Greece, try Greece, you will love the country, and I think they do.
And I assume a lot of your friends have visited Greece during your stay here. What are their impressions?
Absolutely, and they, as I, have been astonished by the variety of Greece. I think many Norwegians still consider Greece to be the beautiful country with all the islands and the beautiful summers. But I've discovered, and with my friends also, so much else. The beautiful mountains, all of the Peloponnesos. There is so many things to discover. I took some friends of mine skiing in Greece. which for Norwegians is, at least at the outset, a contradiction in terms, but it went very well.
And how do you find the everyday life here? I mean, you have a fantastic family, a great house, which we all enjoy today. How do you find your everyday life in this country?
Everyday life is, on a professional level, very interesting. This is a truly interesting country in a very interesting period. Everyday life is very nice. I mean, the climate is perfect, the people are very hospitable, and we really love Athens as a city. It is greener and much more welcoming than what I thought before we came here.
Speaking of the climate, can you give us a hint of how you survive the Norwegian climate? I mean, is it really as bad as we all tend to think?
Well, it depends on. I'm not the kind of person that is very affected by the weather. I wouldn't say it doesn't make a difference. It does, and it makes a greater difference as you get older. So, however, I think there's a lot more than the climate in life. Norway has some months from October to February that I don't think are particularly attractive, to put it this way. But then there are also many months where the climate is quite nice, and the country is astonishing and very beautiful country indeed. So I've managed quite well. You know, Norwegians say that there isn't no such thing as bad weather, it's only inappropriate clothing.
Very well put, I suppose. And how about your Norwegian friends? What do they think of Greece and Greeks overall?
Not only my friends, Greece is a country that is very, I would say, very dear to Norwegians, and even compared to other Mediterranean countries, even more so. I think there is something which is very difficult to exactly describe, and I think that ultimately has to do with the people and the culture that makes Greece a bit different. You know, it's not only a lot of countries have nice weather and they have nice beaches and so on and so forth. There's more to it, and I think ultimately it's the Greek people that make the difference for good and bad. But I think, you know, most of the tourists they maybe meet the better parts.
And is it the Greek people that you really miss when you are in Norway?
Yes, it's definitely more people than anything else, and it's of course always nice with better weather when I come here and enjoy. But it's really the people that are the important things in life.
I could just pick up on something that Dr. Lindberg said. I think there is some kind of connection between the two peoples. I've heard stories of Norwegian tourists who come to Greece every year, and they go to the same hotel and they stay for 2, 3, 4 weeks because that is their concept of holiday, to the point where they don't bring all their luggage back. They leave a bag at the same place because they know they will come back to the place that they love in Greece. I think that's a very nice story.
That's a very nice story. Can you share, let's say, a funny or odd story, however, of your life in Greece so far?
Since we will be enjoying the Scanditerranean diet just in a few moments, there is one story that I really enjoy, and it has the advantage of being true. Sometimes we don't have big dinners or big lunches. We have birthday parties for our kids, and they are 10 years old. And as many other parents, we serve pizza. But one of the guests, when he took the 4th piece of pizza, he said, "I really shouldn't." I said, "Why?" "Because I'm on a diet." And we thought, well, 10 years old on a diet, that's pretty stuff. And he said, "Yes, I'm on a seafood diet." I thought, seafood diet, 10 years old? And he said, "Yes, I see food and I eat it."
That's fantastic. Can you share perhaps an equally funny story from your life in Norway?
I think in terms of its impact, I think the funniest was that I chose the Norwegian teach-yourself method. But maybe my first, there's something called the Christmas, if you translate it, Christmas table, but it's a Christmas, it's a tradition when it starts in end of October, maybe November, and you know, all types of organizations, works and so on and so forth, and homes, they celebrate together. They have gatherings for the Christmas. And when I first arrived in Norway, I have to say that you know, it's definitely, Norwegians are not as open as Greeks are. That's for sure. That doesn't mean that you cannot meet people and you can get great relationships, and but it's not as easy. So people are not that open. And then during that Christmas evening, when there was, food and drink and dancing and what have you, and everybody got looser and got together, and I felt, oh well, that was at work, so I felt at the university, so I felt, well, now the ice is broken. And so the next day, everything was back to what it was. So people were exactly like they were before the end. That was one thing. And the other is I remember very clearly one day, it was a Sunday, looking out, it was bright sun, it was winter, and the sun was bright and it looked like a great day, and I just rushed out to go out, and it was minus 20 degrees, and I wasn't prepared for it because I didn't have a thermometer outside my window, which every Norwegian family has. So I wasn't, for me, I thought sun, it's good weather. I got out and it was minus 20 degrees.
Okay, dressed the right way, I suppose.
Dressed, yes, I learned that.
And since it's Christmas and we're going to be tasting bits and pieces of what we call the Scanditerranean cuisine, would you like to introduce us to the tastes that are going to be served today?
Well, the attempt is to get some elements from the Norwegian or Scandinavian foods and also some elements from the Greek, and then marry them together. So we'll be having a variation, I understand, somehow it became of something called the Bergen's fish soup. I believe you are from Bergen.
Hometown.
Yes, hometown. So it's a famous traditional dish from Norway. Then we'll have salmon rolls, but with feta and yogurt mousse inside, and then some Greek meatballs with feta cheese sauce, and we'll finish with a dessert. It's a variation of a typical Norwegian dessert, where we've used also barley rusks from Greece, and also berries, raspberries, so I hope you will enjoy it.
I'm sure we will. Thank you both so much. Thank you.
Thank you.